Ken, thank you so much for being with me, and my heart just goes out to, obviously your family in this community that is reeling. So thank you so much for taking a moment with me today.
Thank you for having me.
So let's start with your cousin, who I know is like a brother to you. And it's my understanding that, he had heard there had been an attack at the church early on. Can you tell me how he knew so quickly?
When I talked to him, he said that he heard gunfire, and he knows about guns, and he knows what a gun sounds like. And his daughter had actually gone to go see what was going on in her car. She came back and told her father that there was a man in black that was shooting people at the church. So Stephen went into his safe, grabbed his AR. Which is AR-15, the same style weapon that the shooter was using, grabbed a handful of ammo and a magazine and was running barefooted toward the shooting. He said he was loading the magazine as fast as he could. He didn't even know how many rounds he had put in the magazine. When he got there, the guy had come outside, and it seemed that to him that he was reloading outside. And he saw that the guy was wearing body armor, and there was a Velcro strap from the back to the front. And he knew from that the man had front and back body armor, and that the vulnerable spot was going to be in the side. And so that's where he shot him the first time.
That's where he got him.
That's where he got him the first time. The man dropped the weapon when he was shot and went and forced his way into an SUV that a guy just happened to be nearby, and he pushed him into the passenger side. As he was doing that, Stephen shot him again in the neck. And then he forced his way into the car, turned around and returned fire and shot 2 rounds through the back of the SUV. And that's when Stephen shot him a third time in the neck again.
Oh my goodness.
He then went to the guy named Johnny that you interviewed and said, that guy just shot up the church. And Johnny said, I saw everything, let's go. And so Stephen got in the vehicle with him, and they took off and chased him at a high rate of speed. And eventually the guy went through an intersection into a field and came to a stop. Stephen went up and made sure he got the passenger first to get on the ground, because at that point he wasn't sure whether he was part of it or he was innocent, but sure, he made sure he wasn't a threat, but made sure he was safe at the same time. Sure. Then went around to the driver's side and yelled at the driver to get out of the car, and when he went up to the car, he saw that the man was already dead.
My goodness, Ken. I'm just taking in everything you just said, and just even going back, if we can, to the fact that he hears the shots, goes back into his house, grabs the gun, and there are many people in this world who would have stayed right there in the comfort of their own home. I mean, has he played this? Has he played this all back in his head? And was there ever a moment where he thought, gosh, maybe I shouldn't run toward the shots?
Well, Stephen is the best shot that I know, and the best way I could describe him is he's the Atticus Finch of Wilson County. And he, without armor and barefooted, ran into the fire and put his own life at risk, took return fire, and fired accurately 3 times. That's an amazing accomplishment, especially for a man who wasn't ever in the military.
How's he doing today? Have you talked to him?
Well, he's shook up. I mean, as you can imagine, he took a man's life, and he feels the pressure of that. He also feels the pressure that he wishes he had acted sooner. And of course, Brian Holcomb and his family are all friends of ours. He grew up right around the corner from me, and so we're friends with him and his wife and his family, and we go back to childhood, and it's just an amazing thing that he had the presence of mind to save lives and stop it right there.
The Holcomb family, that's the family that so many people in this country have been reading about today. Ken, you know, the woman who was pregnant and her 3 children, some of the victims. I was just even looking at numbers, Ken. I mean, this is a town of, I think it's 1,000 people. And so basically 4% of this town was murdered on a Sunday morning in church.
I know, it's unfathomable. We have a country that's got to find our faith in God again, because it is really going crazy. Brian, the last time I saw him, he was working in his canvas shop. He's one of the happiest people I know, one of the most friendly people I know, and he was listening to gospel sermons on the stereo working in his shop. He's a deep man of faith, and if the situation had been reversed, he would have done exactly the same thing Stephen did.
Well, bless him and bless you, and thank you so much just for taking the time. And like I said, just our deepest condolences going out to the Sutherland Springs, Texas community in such just a horrible, horrible moment. Thank you so much, Ken. I really appreciate you.
Sure. Keep everyone in your prayers. Thank you.
We will. We will. Thank you.